Netflix has been your boss, Disney's been your boss, Warner Bros. Have been your boss.
It was scary. It was kind of troubling. Like, I don't know what, I don't know if I am supposed to do any of this stuff. I don't know if the industry is ever going to come back. Sometimes it's like kind of being a thorn in somebody's side, where you're just saying.
But it was enough to. So welcome to JN Clips, everyone watching and listening. You may or may not see an unfamiliar face on the other side of the screen right now. I have a really good new friend of the channel. This is Dillon Black. So I'm going to hype Dillon up for a second. He's going to tell us a bit about himself. So Dillon, you're a champion of indie film, but also at times in your career, Netflix has been your boss, Disney's been your boss, Warner Bros. Have been your boss, and you're just kicking and rocking it, man. And so I just want to take some time to dig into your well of knowledge today and see what we can learn from a pro like you. But how are you doing?
Goodness, wow, oh man, yeah, I feel so encouraged now.
Yeah, or you should be.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, thanks,
killing
Jared.
it. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, like, you're. It would be kind of foolhardy for me to say that, like, I'm, I guess, videoing across you make your own stuff. You put through your project into that distribution thing. You're making pathways yourself. You're working hard. You're killing it also.
I appreciate. I'm definitely hustling, but some people's hustling is a bit different than others. So, but okay.
Also,
so
you have a kid, right? You also have a kid too. Don't forget.
I do have a kid. Yeah. So fatherhood's big on that agenda. Yeah. So
ladies,
stay childless. Yes. You'll kill it. You'll kill it in the film industry.
Stay childless. Oh yeah, childless, friendless, houseless. We got it all.
Well, maybe we can help out with a few of those things on JP Clips. But okay, yes, bro. Yes. Well, before we dive in, I did that big intro there. But how would you people coming across you for the first time? How would you like to present yourself as a proponent in the film industry?
Yeah, I would say that I really. If there's anything I can contribute to the film community, it's a voice to say, yeah, bro or gal or whoever, you can do it. Like, we live in an age right now where there is a countless amount of things that can say no. A lot of it is kind of just yourself too. And I just want to be like a positive reinforcer in people, and to also just let them know, I mean, I haven't gotten to the level that I want to be yet, but I'm still working through it with you. We're kind of going through these journeys together, and hopefully what I find I can share with whatever way to people to know, like, hey, it's kind of demystifying it kind of a little bit, the whole process.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, that's really cool. We're gonna go ahead and kick things off for the viewers watching. Our main takeaway today that I told Dillon right before we hit record is I really just want people to know there's space for you in this industry. The working filmmaker is a thing, and the industry is bigger than maybe you would assume. And so those are kind of things we're going to be diving into today. Dillon, we got a lot of things to get through, but let's start off with a very basic foundation question. One, what was a moment where you're like, hey, I have a passion for cinema as a consumer, but then also the moment where maybe I can do this movie thing for a living?
Wow. I mean, for as just a moment, and it's hard because I'm obviously someone who's the second question is what I'm kind of thinking about right now, because it is there's so many things that happened when you're in the giant weight of the industry that you work as a small peg, you work as a big peg. But I'm jumping ahead of myself. So going back to the first question, it's just movies has been in my life for such a long time. I remember going into the theaters to see Rugrats Go to Paris. If you remember that movie at all.
I think so, yeah.
Is that the one where there's a giant robot?
Okay, I'm thinking of a different movie. My bad. Yeah.
And I remember I had like a little box of popcorn and like M&Ms and like a soda,
Yeah.
and I was sitting
Very
next to
cool.
my buddy, like my neighbor whose name was
Hmm.
Alex, and it was like the free movie of the week because they used to do that where you
Yeah.
would just go in for a free movie, and then I don't know if they do that anymore. Maybe they
I
do
wish, man. I haven't heard of
sometimes.
that in forever.
Yeah. Um, I think it was even like a chain that doesn't exist anymore. Pretty sure. Like
Okay.
some of, I know it's just, anyway. And then, that kind of changed for me. Like movies were just a part of my life. And then um, it wasn't until like something that, was like an all consuming, like thing was specifically Inception in
Mm,
2010
yeah,
with the
man.
score to like the Hans Zimmer score
Yeah,
and that
beautiful.
the last moment with him in the plane, and then like it was something I left the theater and there was like I knew that there was no going back. There was something that changed in me,
Yeah,
and it was like that it was a part of the score, it was a part of the moment, and I it like spurred me to like like dream in ways differently, like doing the
yeah,
dream journal, getting a poster on my wall,
yeah, man.
everything. um then after that, um it was just like, constantly just getting inspired again and getting deeper into it and getting into another thing that blew my mind, and then another movie that changed the world, and then, until it just started to feel where you get to a point where you're like, huh, I think I can. I think what I'm seeing on the screen. I think I know how all these things kind of worked through this. Like it's not
Yeah.
as mysterious anymore. It became more of like a, oh, now it's like a. It went
A
from
way of
being, I
communication,
guess.
maybe.
Well, I was thinking of it more of like the inspiration used to come from like down, as
Mm,
in like, oh, this is unachievable, and then this is
yeah.
something that I'm trying to get, and then eventually it gets to like a lateral inspiration
Okay.
where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is so cool to see what these people can do. I want to see how they do that, kind
Yeah.
of that kind of level. But I don't think of myself as like in that like filmmaker or crazy like talented way. But anyway, that's the
Well,
answer to
dude.
that question.
Well, no, hey,
Yeah.
anybody that points to Christopher Nolan as a means of inspiration is completely justified, in my opinion. I'm actually, so quick little note, he's coming out with the Odyssey this month now. So me and a good friend of mine, we're traveling and meeting in another state as a halfway point just to watch it together. So yeah, big Christopher
Wow.
Nolan, yeah, big Christopher Nolan
Are
fan.
you?
Uh,
How are you seeing it? May I ask? Are you
yeah, big screen, big screen. So yeah,
IMAX? Are you doing the?
yes. I think it's IMAX.
Let's go.
So it. I thought it would say IMAX. It said like
Uh
Cine XL or regular digital, and I had to Google what the Cine XL was, and it just said a really big screen. So I'm
oh.
assuming.
Okay.
I'm hoping it's close to IMAX. It looked like large descriptions. So, yeah, yeah.
It's cool that you're doing it as a meetup too. Like that's gonna be like a whole memory in and of
Oh, for
itself.
sure. Yeah, it'll be experience.
Yeah.
But okay, so yeah, you
I'm.
had this moment.
I'm.
Oh, well, go ahead.
Yeah. You. Oh yeah. No. No. It just. Yeah. That moment in time, like with Inception, though. Yeah. Sorry if that's what you're talking about. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. I was just gonna go off there, but did you have more you want to say on
Yeah.
there?
I was just gonna say, like, I'm excited for the movie.
Yeah,
Honestly.
bro, you should be. And at any point, if you want to pause this just to tell me you're hyped about a movie, let me know. So that's
Yeah.
you're on the right channel, my friend. So
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
but
Awesome.
so yeah, you had this moment with Interstellar, or did you say
Mm.
Inception?
Inception. Yeah.
Inception.
Interstellar. I was a little bit more. That was 4 years after that, right? I think I
Okay.
was. I was in high school, so I don't know if my experience with Interstellar was as earth shattering. I don't think there was anyone maybe after that movie from Christopher Nolan up to Oppenheimer that made me have that
Okay.
guttural emotion reaction,
Yeah.
which is
Guttural's
not
a
to
good
say they're
word.
bad movies. Yeah.
No, but no, I totally get it. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what art is. It's
Mhm.
individualized, so that's dope.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had this moment with Inception. Now I know
Hmm.
you have some sort of schooling in whether it be
Hmm.
filmmaking altogether, videography. Maybe you can
Hmm.
let us know a bit more about that. But I really want to go to I kind of keep this action step oriented. So you go to
Uh-huh.
school.
Uh-huh.
You graduate with the intention on being a filmmaker.
Hmm.
What is the first thing you do? Like, even if it's like Googling gigs around you, or if it's
Hmm.
maybe you're a bit more
Yeah.
informed, maybe you have a connection. Like, what was that first couple steps like?
Yeah. Well, like if that's the thing, like if you're watching this and you're trying to get like a 1, 2, 3, how do I do this? It's
Yeah,
not going to be the same for
not gonna be
everyone.
like,
Everyone has their own individual journey. So I get out of college, and it's COVID. So
yeah,
like the dream of like getting out fresh out the box into the world, that's done. That's over, especially
yeah,
in the film industry.
for sure.
And it's hard because yeah, you go back home and then you're just waiting out your time. You're waiting out for opportunities to befall yourself. And here I am back in Pittsburgh, which isn't quite the hot spot in
No,
this world for
no,
industry, you know. And like it's you get the occasional videography job, and I think a lot of people in the world, like in the United States, we kind of know the hot spots. We know LA and New
yeah,
York, and it used to be Atlanta. So
yeah,
with that in mind, it was like, from my mind, the question always was between Los Angeles or Atlanta,
yeah,
and throughout college. So he's like, that was the action plan in my mind, because it's so important if you are trying to make it into that form of the industry to go into places where people are working, because a lot of the times in those scenarios, in those gigs, like, spoiler alert, what was happening was someone was available.
yeah.
It wasn't that I said the right thing or had the magic key in order to work
Hmm.
on like a Stranger Things set.
You're in the
It was
right
the
area.
fact that I was in the right area, and well, I mean, I did know the right person, but I wasn't burning bridges.
Hmm.
And it's important not to really do that. It's important to maintain relationships. It's which
Hmm.
is so important, and it's also important um, not to beat down on yourself if you feel like you're working on something that might not be your direct line of
Yeah,
attack. Um, and but that's in the case of wanting to work in the industry itself. And so, like, yeah, getting out of college, it was scary. It was kind of troubling. Like, I don't know what, I don't know if I'm supposed to do any of this stuff. I don't know if the industry is ever going to come back.
yeah, man,
There's all these things,
totally.
that was like it was a very problematic time that we're in anyway. But then just like that courage is doing filmmaking kind of comes back to being like, you got to take that step of courage in whatever you're trying to do.
Hmm.
Um, and
Yeah,
just how important it is to just let it known that, like, if there is a downfall in it, the upfall is still the action of going towards
yeah.
it, if that makes any
No,
sense.
it makes really good sense. What I'm
Hmm.
hearing is like if
Yeah.
there's a slowed season or a
Hmm.
moment in your trajectory of your goals where things are slowed down or simply
Hmm.
inactive, the active step
Hmm.
is still kind of moving through those things with the same intent. Is that what I'm hearing? Or
Yeah, I believe, like, in my philosophical sense, that the universe works as an action, and
mm,
inaction means death. Like,
mm,
when things don't move, then that
yeah,
is the epitome of
killing.
the opposite of life. Yeah.
Got
So
it.
like,
That's
um,
interesting.
I think I think people resonate in that sense too, where it's like a snowball effect.
Yeah,
When I produced my own projects, I don't know if you can speak on this as well. I mean, it's like, oh, this person's got a f- you know, I went from a project where it's just only me doing everything,
Mhm.
working on a script, having crazy vision, to having like 20 people who are all volunteering to
Yeah, man.
work on like a film that I was doing. And it was just like overnight. And that was just because, again, like the right location,
Yeah,
people, you had a reputation, and you had that action, you had that energy, and
totally,
it
man.
pushed it out,
That's
you know.
legit. I really like that.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
let's take us step down memory lane. Like, what
Yeah.
would you classify as like, okay, I'm officially on my first professional set for the first
Hmm.
time. What project was that? What was your role? And then like what
Oh,
was the I would hope there'd be some sense of giddy, excited emotions. Like just take me down what that was like.
yeah. It didn't feel like there were some times that I felt it, like it was on like Stranger Things. There's a big moment, like because you saw those like actors, but it was also kind of easy to get lost because there's just so much happening.
Yeah, man.
You were just such a small little cog in the massive wheel.
Yeah.
um and it felt kind of like, yes, this is awesome, but I feel almost like I'm in like Universal Studios Disney World,
Okay.
like it
Yeah.
didn't
You're just like
feel
a
like it was real.
lot of craziness moving around you and you're trying to navigate somewhere in there.
Just trying to do my PA duties of just like being a PA, and that has its ups and its downs too. And then like working on, I think when it was like a project like Cobra Kai, when I was working on it, um,
Yeah.
seeing how it kind of began and then how it ended, and then like the ups and downs, and seeing just like the full picture of it, felt to me like so much more like, oh,
Yeah.
gratifying, and
Okay. Now,
just
I
seeing
know.
that from the beginning to end. Yeah.
So this is a selfish question, just totally
Hmm.
taking time out of your life to ask. I have to ask,
Go
did
for
you
it.
at least see Ralph Macchio and how cool was that? Like, like,
So Ralph Macchio actually, like, we kind of had a relationship actually. Like I
oh
was
my
in the
God.
office,
Yeah.
and it was he is one of the most humble and most personable people like you will ever meet.
Yeah.
He's just so gracious, and like, uh I mean, like, in a world of film where you're working 12 to 16-hour days,
Yeah.
to have that kind of level of compassion just for a regular person, it's just like, honestly, I could talk for hours just about how
Yeah.
cool that is, like,
Oh, dude,
real guy he is.
that's so cool. But obviously, like,
Yeah.
you're on set. I mean, those are
Hmm.
obviously home note name worthy film productions, and
Hmm.
you're there because you deserve to be. You're there because you're doing the right things, and so
Hmm.
definitely give yourself some props there. And I know you mentioned you PA'd a lot,
Hmm.
and obviously, I mean, you would know more than I, but a PA you're doing probably a lot more than you should than you have been given credit for. So I'm sure those projects benefited from your presence for sure, bro.
Oh, thank
But
you.
yeah, well, take me through like. So I know you mentioned Netflix, you mentioned Cobra Kai or Stranger Things and Cobra Kai. Um, and obviously in the intro I mentioned a couple more of your a couple more bit. You've done so much; those are just some,
Hmm.
organizations that people may already know about. But like, take me to
Hmm.
a spot that is post. You kind of had the moment where maybe you call home and you're like, can you believe I'm on this set right now, it's so cool, and that's a season, and then maybe that season's over and it's
Yeah.
back to that, oh man, I need another gig. um
Yeah.
so like what, and again, I realize you're in the right area, you're probably meeting an insane amount of connections and people to network with. Like, just yeah, take me back into your life. Like, what was that like? What phone call did you
Mm.
make, or what ad did you see that kind of led to that next? Oh, okay. There's more opportunity here.
Yeah, sometimes it just comes from random spots. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it was, oh, you're free tomorrow. Sure,
Yeah.
yeah, I could be on a commercial, and then
Okay.
so the commercial goes for 2 weeks, and then
Yeah.
and it's just like a conversation, and then sometimes it comes from like there was one time it was a Facebook ad, and it was
Okay.
like completely not a Facebook ad, but it was just like a Facebook post, and it was just like, hey, is anyone here? And that film was interesting. It's a different story. I mean, it goes back to that rule I told you about earlier. For myself,
Okay.
it's more for myself. Um, um, and sometimes it's like kind of being a thorn in somebody's side, where you're just
Okay.
saying, hey man, I didn't, because sometimes people just like contact you out of the blue and be like, hey, can you work this time? And you're like, no, I'm working now. And you're just like, hey,
Yeah.
I am available now. I'm resending my resume. I'm going to send it to all my contacts just so everybody knows I'm available,
Yeah. See,
and just
I think right
getting,
now
yeah,
you're speaking to the message. Yeah, these are like
yeah,
you're not, you're I want to get the point across. Like you're hustling. Like you're like you have
yeah.
an incredible IMDb, and some people
Thank you.
that might be yeah no truly, and some people that might be an aspiring filmmaker, but they're stuck in wedding videography land. They might
Hmm.
presume an individual like yourself is you've made enough connections that all those big names are just coming at you, but you were like
Yeah.
hustling for each and every little thing you're acquiring to this resume.
Yeah, there hasn't been one particular show that was like a long-term show that I got was without some kind of like struggle or like however it
Yeah.
be, one time, and then some of them are just like, I mean, all the big ones have been through like a contact or through just like just like getting
Getting to
that
know
like, hey,
people.
I need I well, and just being like annoying, being like, hey, I was hoping to see if you had
Yeah,
anything coming up, and then they're like,
exactly.
oh, I don't know. Oh yes, I do now. And so it comes back to being in the right place, right time, and not burning bridges, and also maintaining relationships.
Yeah.
One thing with people in our generation, Gen Z, is
Yeah.
like we are online a lot, but we also have like a kind of assumption that social media makes up for that, like makes
Oh
up for
yeah.
connection and makes up
Mm,
for like what would be considered a relationship. But, a real, I think, deeper connection comes from like a text, even, or an
mm,
email, or I mean, newsletters potentially, or
yeah.
if you have that, capacity, phone calls,
Yeah.
like those is I'm not great at it, but like if you do that, you're deepening those relationships, and it's more than just like, oh,
Yeah.
a Facebook like,
Yeah,
and
man.
I think we really got to push for people, if you are trying to get deeper into the film industry, where it's not just like a gig every month or something like that. Look at the four things that
Yeah,
we're
man.
talking about. Like, are you in a good spot? Do you
Totally.
have accessibility? Like, do you have a car, and a willingness to work? Do you have
Exactly.
like connections, and also how are you doing maintaining relationships?
Yeah, man. That's really well said.
Yeah. Hmm.
So you're really you're really generous at the beginning of this thing and tried to give me a little shout out with a little project that we did. Me and my little family production team, which was super nice. The reason I
Yeah.
bring that up is because I kind of want to share a bit about how we met, all to set up something for you. But so
Hmm.
we met on a thriller indie film that's still upcoming. It's in the festival circuit, of which you were a line producer for. I want to get that right.
Hmm.
Is that correct? Well,
Yeah.
so I knew people working on it from college. They were the people that were
Hmm.
always, the classic. They're always making short films and in the world. And I was kind of freshly new to the idea of maybe I could maybe I could take this seriously, maybe, and seriously enough to go for an opportunity or two. Well, I just saw, on Instagram because I knew some of these people on the project. Hey, we need extras for a party scene, you know, and I think I sent it some really cheesy like attempted whatever you want to call them, stills or frames, because it was supposed to be like in the '70s or something like that. And I sent in some like really cheesy cropped like photos of myself. I think one of the email replies back was like, "These are so fun," you know. But but it was enough to at least I think they just needed people, so I found myself there. And just between me and you, that was probably like the most professional atmosphere I've been around, And
Wow.
so,
Good.
yeah, man. And so it was a true like it's a big memory for me. But so we
Yeah.
did the night. The night was so fun. I had
Hmm.
met you maybe. Well, you picked me up, and you were the guy picking me up, kind of telling me where to be. And I really didn't talk to you for a few hours until you came up to me later. I don't know if you remember this.
Hmm.
Pulled me aside, and you were just like, "Hey, man, you seem like you really want to be here. You should come out next week if you're available, just to kind of pretty much be a PA of some sort." I'll
Yeah.
try to short. I'll try to shorten this up because this needs to be about you. But I, uh, I just found myself helping out where I could. But a really fun memory for me was in this movie. There was a reason that they needed to destroy the house a bit.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
house the house that it was filmed in, and I won't, I can't even remember their name, and I'm not going to speak too much on them, but let's just say there was not proper tools to do so. But I knew the producer, and I said, "Hey, I have in my car, I have the axe that I take camping with. Do we want to use that?" And so she called Jacob, the writer director, and they were like, "Yeah, go for it." So we tore some holes in this house, and then I got really nervous because it was like a light bulb. You don't own the house, and you just put major holes in these walls. And then so Jacob showed up, and then he gave me the green light, and then was like, "Hey, I know today's supposed to be your last day, but if you could show up again." Uh, he walked me through the house, asked me what I could do. So my last technical day on set was the day after my first day at. So by day I'm a public school teacher. So I came home
Yes.
after my first, like literally my first day, went to the house where there was no one else there except for me and my wife, and just tore it up, man. So it was a good memory for sure. But I say that is like, for me, that will always be a good memory of an opportunity that I didn't think I was going to get to have, but it really changed the way I just navigated myself within what I considered to be indie film. So like, tell me
Yeah.
about a fun time for you that maybe one connection that you didn't expect led to this cool moment. And it can be a
Mm.
project of your own. I know you've written and directed your own stuff, and so
Mm.
that just ended up being, hey, that was awesome, and that makes me want to keep, as you said, moving in action.
Well, and I also have to say, I mean, you put in a lot of work and you made that house look great, and you kind of saved us in a lot of ways because we were running into like we have to do what and how.
Yeah. Oh
It's just
man,
really awesome.
it was fun,
And
bro.
I'm glad you had fun. We were kind of worried, like, oh my gosh, I hope it's not like asking for too much. This guy who's just coming out
Dude,
into it was like an hour drive or something.
well, so it wasn't too far from where I was living, but my commute to my actual job was an
Your
hour at the
work.
time. So I was just
Oh, did
driving,
you?
kind of taking
Yeah.
the step out, going out of my way to show up and do that. But it
Wow.
was
On
just
his
my
first
wife,
day.
dude. My wife was just sitting, like in one of the chairs while I was just
Yeah.
dripping sweat, just beating holes in this. Well, I have a Polaroid somewhere of myself in the house, and it says axe operator on it. So,
Let's go. I hope
yeah,
we get to do the premiere soon because I mean,
yeah. I need to see it.
it would be really fun to have like a reunion of a kind. I'm going to be in Kansas City in next month, so I'll try to like talk to Jacob and see what like we can
That'd be
have
sick.
happen sooner than later.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
yeah. Anywho, so okay, it was cool with some of the stuff like working. I'm thinking about like the ones that I've directed so far. So it was just like some fun little like mismatches. Like the guy that did sound on The Burnt Offering, which is a project that's going to be coming out pretty soon.
And
He
am I correct
ended
to
up
say
being,
you wrote and direct this, right?
yeah, yeah. That he ended up becoming the drummer for the lead actor's band, which is just like a
Nice.
fun little thing. um, and I think with some other people, like with Paul Soper, who was the main actor in What's Up to Barry, like he had
Mhm.
after that project, he kind of got on to a couple other projects from the Liberty University Film School, which was cool
Hey,
to see him
look at
work.
you making connections with Liberty. Yeah.
He I think, you know, if people would go and, you know, look at his stuff, he's very available. Not, oh man, that sounds bad, but he
No, no.
100% make sure you go check out his stuff. He is a great worker, and you know, anyway,
Yeah.
um but yeah, it's just like it's fun. Like sometimes the connections you find with just passionate people are just like so unique. Like meeting with some people who have like weird connections. You're like, oh, you're related to this person. Oh, you're
Yeah.
this, or this, or you have a history of being like. There's one person that I met, and like I don't know what happened to him, but he was like he was from Canada, and he was just like the nicest guy. He was always cracking jokes on set and stuff. And then like one day he was like came over to me because we kind of formed a connection. And then
Hmm.
he just like holds me to the side. He's like, "This is the last time I'll see you, Dylan." I'm like, "Why? What's happening?" He's like, I'm going off to the South Pole."
Oh
And
my
so
God.
what happened is he took his van, his beat up van, and he drove
Yeah.
down
Oh my
through
God.
Mexico, through South America. And the scary thing is, I haven't heard from him. So
He's
he's
telling
kind
you
of,
the truth.
he's kind of, honestly. So, yeah, it's just like you get the coolest and most unique people. It's like a bartending job in a way, but instead
Yeah.
you're serving your body over hot lights.
That's pretty good. Okay,
Yeah,
man. Well, let's see here. I want to kind of ask you just more broad stroke questions, like
sure.
what's something and I guess obviously I feel like in the more research you do, you realize every big production
Hmm.
is really just indie film done well. But
Hmm.
let's just speak. If you could, if it's possible to kind of like narrow the scope of the film industry
Yeah,
to independent films, like
yeah.
what's something you want to see out of indie film, and then through that lens, what's something you're wanting to do in your career? I know you have upcoming stuff. If you go to IMDb and hit upcoming, there's about 3 or 4
Hmm.
things that come up. So you have things in the works, but like, I guess I'm
Hmm.
saying, think Dylan 5, 10 years from now, right? And in
Hmm.
relation to indie film, like what is Dylan like moving towards in your perception right now?
Well, for me personally, it's directing features. So in
Yeah, man.
5 years, I hope to have at least 3 features done.
Yes.
And I'm working on one right now, trying to get that happening. I'm very excited about it. But as in like the indie film sphere, I think it's a tough conversation. So like I'm gonna
Okay.
have to bring it back a little bit on a different level. So like, you know,
Go
indie
wherever
film
you
is
want, man.
really, yeah, it's really important that and we're in a good spot, right? So movies like Obsession,
Yeah.
even smaller, not as mega hits as Obsession, because that's like kind of it's a almost once in a generation hit, you know, for an indie
Yeah.
film. But even films like Leviticus or I Saw the TV Glow or Bodies, like those kinds of films, more
Yeah,
like achievable scales, achievable
totally.
successes. You
I
know,
think a
I feel
good.
like that's a good spot for
I
that
think.
stuff.
I think I
Um,
was just gonna say. I think a good 2026 example for me would be
mhm.
Undertone. If you ever saw that.
Yeah. It's like 500,000 to make, and then it makes its budget back in the weekend.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I I want to see filmmakers with a little bit more. I think we need to work on our scripting. I think we need to work more on our stories. If we want to continue in this indie space, because those are elements that I feel like are kind of missing out, you know.
Mm,
But I think what's great is we have democratized so much about our process, you know, like social media. We can make, you know, you can go viral relating you run your film, and then it get famous, and then, you know,
totally.
production makes it easier.
Hmm.
You know, these lighting is cheaper than it's ever been to make your film. Um, and video cameras are really important, but also what's more important, again, and this goes back to what I was just saying, is story. Like
Hmm.
the story that we're trying to tell, you know. It's just so important, and we're not just like, it's great to do it, it's great to make it, but
Yeah.
like it's also important to know that, like, if this was your, it's that's why it's a hard conversation. Like, if this is your one token, you know, do put in as much work as you can. Don't walk into it without caution, but also walk into it with confidence. So
Mm, that's
I think
good.
there's a balance there, you
Yeah.
know.
That's really cool. I think I'm the typical wannabe quoting people that have like set the standard for made it, but I think I heard
Hmm.
like M Night say one time like, you know,
Hmm.
if you would do this, if this is something where you'll make content, which he probably didn't use the word content, but
Hmm.
and people are telling you, hey, you're not good at it. I saw your project. It was, you know, it wasn't good at all. You need to give this
Hmm.
up, and you still would want to do that thing. Like that's a good sign that
Yeah.
you there's space for you to kind of move forward. And that was a really
Yeah.
encouraging quote for me. But so what I'm hearing from you is like story's everything. And so
Hmm.
let's say, and which I am, but let's speak to the general hypothetical here. Like I'm a aspiring indie filmmaker. I
Hmm.
I've been working to save up for my first cinema camera, but that's about all I have right now, except for a few friends that are maybe down to help out. Like,
Hmm.
what's something if you're in that boat, what's something you should be prioritizing, you think?
Okay. If you're prioritizing, I think it depends on where you live, of course. But
Hmm.
if you're trying to save up for a cine camera, I would suggest, you know, obviously buying it secondhand, or going and getting a rental and
Yeah.
testing out things.
Okay.
And then what you should try to do is try to build in your cinematic language that resonates with you.
Can you
And
extrapolate that? Like, what do you mean by
yeah,
that?
so like, if you feel like when you're watching a movie and you're like, why did they put the camera there? I feel visibly uncomfortable that they put it there. Or it's
Mm,
like, you feel like I could have done this differently and it would have made more sense. Then you know that that's part of the language is coming into it. And then, like, when I think what you should try to do, if you're trying to build something, is like, so maybe just like build toward, like, if you're doing investments, build towards like investing in maybe not just the cinematic camera, but investing in like the project, like shoot it more rudimentary with like a
mm,
phone camera, and then
yeah.
just like play around with it in editing. One of the most
Yeah.
learning experiences I've had is just like, you know, taking my phone out and just like shooting things and then just getting that, like, the language of like, oh, okay, this shot I like, and there's a reason
Yeah.
for this shot to be here, and then like building the story out, um,
Yeah.
and reinforcing it with just like showing it to people and being like, oh, does this work? Does this make sense?
Yeah.
But this is kind of, um, yeah, and
No,
then
this is
yeah,
good.
it.
This is good
If,
stuff.
mhm,
So what I'm hearing is like, before you make a film, it costs nothing to learn the language of film and
yeah,
to know how you can go from uh, acknowledging it in movies you're watching, but then also to how would I take a personal spin on this, or how would I go from
mhm.
decoding to encoding, if you will.
That's a good way to
How,
say that. Yeah.
yeah.
um, I will also just say like, yeah, because the thing that just is stuck in my mind is just like you're waiting for like maybe $6,000, right? If you're trying to buy a
Okay.
cinema camera, you know,
Hmm.
and if you're working as a business, like that would be a cost that you could spend $6,000 on 6 actors that are
Yeah.
like real actors.
Yeah.
Use your phone, get $500 worth of lights,
Yeah.
you get 2 days worth of food, and then like now you have a project
A
that's finished
production.
versus the start of a project that you don't
Yeah.
actually, and then you
Dude,
still have to get that stuff.
well,
Mhm.
what you just laid out there, I mean, I this channel is really just me nerding out. So sometimes it's movie reviews, sometimes it's
Mhm.
the film industry. But when it is the more
Mhm.
pragmatic videos, like I think what you just said there is the heart of kind of the message I want to send
Mhm.
out. So the one little credit I have
Mhm.
to my name, we shot it on iPhone and
Yeah.
edited on free streaming, free editing softwares, and it wasn't necessarily
Mhm.
like, we did our best with with very minimal resources, but it wasn't like it was so
Mhm.
good that it landed streaming. But we did what we could, and
Yeah.
then when it came to post production and the distribution, I just said, what can I do? And I worked until I found something that manifested, and so I think what you're saying there
Yeah.
is just the heart of my heart of filmmaking is like, when you make a movie, whether it's a 5K budget or a
Mhm.
2.3 million budget or higher, like it's still a movie, and there's
Mhm.
still a language there
Mhm.
that can be how am I trying to say it? The language to communicate in film is really what I'm trying to get at. And so
Yeah.
that was a big weird
It's free.
philosophical way to say that. But yeah.
No, you said it well. It's free. It's universal. You don't have to go to film school. Um, and that's the thing that people try to mystify, is maybe they're trying to save their job or something like that. But
Mhm.
like, it's something that you get as a kid can get it, and they watch it and they're like, oh, something, I don't like this, or it's like, I don't like this movie. Like
Yeah,
that's exactly what we're talking about.
exactly.
Yeah. and I just think also it's like we're in an age right now. I wanted to hit on this point was, there are ideas. We have a plethora of ideas right now. That's gonna get worse where we have ideas being executed with AI, right?
Mhm.
So it's like they're going to be spending money, and they're going to have the ideas, and they're going to expect people to not fall, but to be resonant with the product that they create with their AI. And what really is going to matter more now is execution.
Amen.
So if you know how to make a film work, and how to make something work from the beginning to the end, and you can pinpoint it, you are going to be worth more than the 100 million AI videos that come
Yeah,
out. And
yeah,
working in person, working with actors, that is a quantifiable step up from typing something
yeah.
into a computer and
Dude,
expecting something to come out.
we're, we're clipping that. That's good. But all right. Well, Dylan, it's been 44 minutes, and I told you it'd probably be 30 to 40. So we'll go ahead and start wrapping this thing up. What's a final
Sure,
message?
man.
Not that I have a great big fan base or anything, but final message to people that come
Oh.
across you for the first time and want to keep up with you and know more about that DB the filmmaker guy.
Yeah. So if you want to know me, I am trying to be on social media more, trying to, show positivity, filmmaking, demystifying directing and producing and all that jazz. I want to let people know that there is a lot of pathways to what we can do as filmmakers, and it's not just one way or the highway.
Mm.
And I hope that you guys will follow me on my social media. Jared just said it was DB with Filmmakers. I try to post. I do mostly, like a podcast every now and then with a guest of someone. I just had Paul Stober on, who was an
That's all
actor
right.
from my short film What's Left of Barry, and then we're about to get started with the Burnt Offering coming out pretty soon. So stay tuned on that.
Super cool. I'll leave your YouTube and your Instagram in the description for sure. So,
Thank
all
you.
right, man. Well, I
Awesome.
guess we'll end the video here. And Dylan, thanks again for being on.